Welcome into the latest edition of Extra Time. Gab Marcotti is joining us. We have Ale and Stevie here in the studio.
All right.
And a whole lot of questions to get through. Right?
All right.
Let's
We're
get
ready.
started. United is supposedly not keen on firing Ten Hag because it will cost 20 million. Aren't they going to get triple that if they make the top four, Gab?
That's one way to look at it. I think they would hope that they get the top four with Ten Hag. But to me, the question to ask is, why on God's green earth did they extend his contract? The reason it's a big payout is, of course, he's got more years, right? In the summer, they chose to, you have a year left. They've got this stupid idea in their head that, a coach that only has a year left on his contract, well, he can't possibly have any credibility, and he needs this vote of confidence of having multiple years, and that's why the payoff is so high. I don't think it's going to stand in the way if they find the replacement and if they do decide to ditch Ten Hag.
What are you shaking your head at, Stevie?
Well, how can you logically do that? I mean, it's not just one person. If it's one person, right, you can point the finger and go, that guy's not right in the head. But there's a group of them. There's half a dozen of them, and they all go, yeah. Let's give him more money and more time. What? I mean, it's just mind blowing. It really is.
All right, Gab, there's a lot of questions for you today, so guys, jump in when you see fit, okay?
All right.
Gab, who's your favourite? Who's your favourite to win Serie A as of now?
So I think Inter are the best side. Still, I think they have the deepest, most flexible squad. But history tells us, Antonio Conte, no European football, and his first season. That is a deadly combination. After losing on opening day, they've been clicking really, really nicely. I'm still going to lean Inter, but I think I wouldn't be surprised at all if Napoli managed to pip them. I think those two are head and shoulders. I think Milan can still turn it around. I think Juve can get themselves in the mix as well. But for me, it's Inter or Napoli, with Inter slight favourites.
This leads on from it. For Gab, are Napoli better off without Victor Osimhen?
No, they're not. Enough of this nonsense. Yeah. I mean, okay, you can twist your mind into a knot and say that they are better off because they're getting better results and because, somehow they decided that they were going to shift him, and so Conte said, I want Lukaku, and obviously you can't have Lukaku plus Osimhen because it's too expensive. But no, there is a parallel universe where they where at some point earlier in the summer, they say, okay, Victor, we want 60 million, 80 million, 100 million for you, whatever it is. If we don't get that by July 31st, you're coming back here. And Conte, you okay with it? And Antonio would have said, yeah, sure, never mind Lukaku. I'll take Victor Osimhen and I'll work with him. And they'd be even better than they are now. Now, that didn't happen. We know the upshot. I don't think it's good for anyone. He's now at Galatasaray. Where I'm sure he's having a good time and scoring goals, but he's not getting the football that he wanted. Napoli did trigger the 1-year extension to get the deal done, but the reality is, unless he scores 100 goals in Turkey, they're not going to get 150 million for him, 120 million, whatever they wanted. And Napoli have Lukaku, who, sure, Conte loves Lukaku, but equally, Lukaku's older. Lukaku's had a string of injuries in the past. So no, they're simply not, whichever way you want to spin it.
With all due respect, Stevie. Lukaku!
Yeah, you're right.
Lukaku! Got to say the name right. Ale, you're probably the kindest about England on this panel. Are England looking like favourites for World Cup 2026 again?
Well, based upon what we have seen as of late, no. But based upon what we have seen in other tournaments, then yes, they're among those that are in the conversation. I don't think that England is that far off, but I also don't see this team as once they advance past the first round of the competition and they get into the knockout stage and England gets all excited and it's coming home, I also don't go down that path. So somewhere in between. I'm looking for common sense, for reason. Can we find reason here and say that England is among those that should be in the conversation? And if they play really well to their highest potential, that why not think about a semi-final appearance and potentially a final appearance in the World Cup?
I'm not even going to ask you, Stevie. Gab, who will coach their national team first? Klopp at Germany or Zidane at France?
I think Zidane with France before Klopp with Germany. I don't, obviously Klopp's taken on this new role with the Red Bull organization. I don't think Klopp has, unlike Zidane, I don't think Klopp has made too many significant noises of saying, yes, I'm dying to manage Germany one day. He's been coy about it. He wants he's taking his time off. He'll decide in due course. But Zidane's been kind of sitting there waiting for the big handoff. He's already coached Real Madrid and done so successfully for a number of years at club level. The next biggest job in the world to him is obviously going to be with his country, and where he's got a shot to become the guy who wins a World Cup both as a player and as a manager, something very few people have done. So as soon as they get tired of Deschamps, I think Zidane will be ready for it. The question is, when will Deschamps go away? I personally would have said au revoir to him several cycles ago, but hey, he's proved me wrong because he's got great players. But no, I think it's going to be Zidane first.
I need to go to LA for this one. What's the pettiest booking you've ever gotten?
Pettiest. Wow.
We love a bit of petty.
I don't know why you would say that.
I'm saying here on ESPN.
I was very well behaved.
Did you ever throw a ball at someone's head?
I didn't. No, I don't think I did. I wasn't booked a lot, but when I did, I had earned it. It's probably a bad challenge, or what some may have thought could potentially be described as a dive. That maybe could have been something that was frowned
Rather
upon.
than the art form that it was.
Rather than appreciating the art of drawing a foul.
I think you're getting warmer.
Is that petty? I don't know that petty.
Yeah.
Stevie?
No, I never got a petty.
Not a petty one?
No.
Never?
No, I never spoke back to referees, ever. It's amazing. As a player, I never had anything to do with referees at all, ever.
I think the most professional ever version of Stevie in anything was on the pitch. What, right?
Because on the sideline, I used to give them dogs abuse. But no, when I got a yellow, I deserved it.
Okay. Gab, which club has the best ownership in Europe? Say you could put any ownership in place for your team you love, who would you choose?
Oh, this is so open-ended. So, it depends what you want out of your club, right? Would you say, Florentino Perez and Real Madrid have been pretty well run, but he's not an owner. Manchester City spend money, and they spend it very, very well, and they dominate in the toughest league in the world. Would you choose them? I don't know. I'd like to go a little further afield and look at owners who really stretch resources. And I think if you go back the last, 5 years, you would probably have to hand it to somebody like Brighton, possibly Brentford, although I don't really enjoy their type of football. These are tiny clubs. These are clubs that were, especially Brentford, these are clubs that were in the third division not that long ago. And yet here they are in the top flight, competing against much better resource clubs, doing things which are interesting and creative, and they have a lot of happy fans. And certainly in England, I would lean towards those guys.
You say City.
Absolutely, aye. I mean, that's a very heartwarming story from Gab about Brighton and the like. But at the end of the day, you got to go with City, because even when they cheat, they get away with it. So we've got loads of
right.
dough.
Okay.
We've got loads
Ale,
of dough.
you're
The owners bring in
This
the
is a
best
question for
people.
Gab.
We've got loads of money.
This is a question for Gab, but you're definitely going to come in on this because we were talking about it on our way over, Ale. Gab, as an unbiased observer, who wins between Frank and Ale's five-a-side teams from last night? Ale, Stevie, Shaka, Jurgen, Mario Melchiot versus Frank, Casey, Luis Garcia, Kieran Gibbs and Craig, all in their prime.
Oh, in their prime. Ooh. Oh, I thought you were meaning right now.
No.
I know you might not be able to do the question, so I can remind you again of the teams if you need it, Gab.
Say that would be.
Would you like a reminder? Okay.
Please
so
remind me again.
Ale's team has him, Stevie, Shaka, Jurgen Klinsmann, and Mario Melchiot. And then Frank has Casey, Luis Garcia, Kieran Gibbs, and Craig Burley.
Ooh.
I think the answer is pretty straightforward, to be honest with you.
I think Ali's team has given its five-a-side. I would imagine Luis Garcia would be a phenomenal five-a-side player, but no, I'm going with Ali's team there, given its five-a-side.
Yeah, it's the best thing you've said today, Gab, to be honest with you. And it's a sensible opinion as it is. It's a team that was actually carefully crafted and put together, thought about. All the selections were made with a thought and a purpose in mind. I have no doubt that my team would be Frank's team.
So I learned
no
two
doubt.
things on the walkover with these guys. One is that if you weren't a professional footballer, you usually get really excited and pick your forwards first in a five-a-side team, where Stevie said it's a defender you should always be going for.
Who was my first pick? Stevie Nicol.
Right? And the other thing I learned was that maybe Macca should have been put in one of these teams.
But see, the thing is that it was for ESPN FC pundits, and Macca is sort of a part-timer. We see him very rarely, and so I thought, Mario shows up for practice. Mario shows up for the game. Mario's gonna show up. Macca, we don't know. So I'm picking Mario. But when it comes to somebody in their prime, in a five-a-side, yeah, Macca should be a selection. It's just that we don't know that he's gonna show up.
Okay. Stevie, Ali or Frank's team?
He's
Is that a serious question?
Come on now. Come on.
I wouldn't even reply to that ridiculous question.
That'll do for the latest edition of Extra Time. I guess it's going to be Ali and Stevie's team that are going to win this game. Klinsmann's in it as well. Let's hope Shaka can put in a performance.
Is McManaman showing up or not?
Macca, you playing or not?
Mario is.
Mario, we know he is.